If you've ever noticed that one person who is always smiling, always helping everyone else, always seeming to have their life perfectly together, pay close attention. What I'm about to reveal might completely change how you see the people around you. Before we continue, if you're looking to truly understand human behavior, smash that like button and subscribe to the channel, because here we dive deep into real psychology.
According to psychology, some people don't look depressed because they've become experts at hiding it. They laugh with you, they work hard, they show up for everything, they seem fine. But the truth is, they fall apart the moment they're alone. This is called high-functioning depression. It doesn't scream for attention. It survives quietly.
Psychologically, when someone develops this pattern, the brain creates a split. Your prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for planning and execution, continues to function normally. You can work, meet deadlines, and handle responsibilities. But your limbic system, the region that processes emotions, is in collapse. Serotonin and dopamine levels are compromised. That's why you can function perfectly on the outside while disintegrating on the inside.
These are the people who show up for everyone else, but no one notices when they need someone.
They never learned how to ask for help, so they hide behind a smile because breaking down feels impossible. They say they're tired, when, in reality, their mind is exhausted and their heart is hurting in ways they can't even explain. From a neurological standpoint, this happens because the brain doesn't store everything equally. It prioritizes what feels emotionally relevant. So, when someone grows up in environments where expressing vulnerability wasn't safe, the brain learns to compartmentalize. It literally separates emotional pain into a mental box that is only opened when completely alone, far from any judging eyes. These people are the strong ones because they never let anyone see their weakest moments. But here's the part most people don't understand. That ability to keep functioning doesn't make the suffering less real. In fact, it can make it even more destructive because the person never gives themselves permission to stop, never has the space to process what they're feeling. Behaviorally, they develop very specific patterns. They are extremely helpful to others, always available to listen, to solve problems. This isn't just pure altruism. It's also a way to deflect attention from themselves. When you're busy taking care of others, no one asks how you are really doing. It's an unconscious protection strategy. They also minimize their own problems, using phrases like, "I'm just a little tired," or "it's just work stress," when in reality they are dealing with something much deeper. They laugh off their own struggles, turning pain into a joke, because they've learned that genuine vulnerability scares people and creates discomfort. When someone says they're tired, often they aren't talking about sleep. They're talking about a type of exhaustion that goes soul deep. It's the fatigue of pretending everything is okay when nothing is. It's the exhaustion of keeping all the balls in the air while crumbling inside. It's the exhaustion of smiling when you want to scream, of saying, "I'm fine," when you want to say, "I'm drowning." Neuroscience shows that when we chronically suppress emotions, we create an allostatic load on the nervous system. The accumulated stress of maintaining this facade starts to exact a real physical toll. Sleep issues, chronic headaches, gut problems, a weakened immune system. The body literally starts screaming what the mind refuses to say. There is also an extremely important social component. We live in a culture, especially here in the West, that values productivity above well-being. We celebrate the hustlers, the ones who never stop, never complain, always deliver. We are bombarded with messages about the grind set, about no excuses, about pushing through the pain. And for people already predisposed to high-functioning depression, these messages reinforce the idea that stopping is weakness, that admitting to the struggle is a character flaw. But listen closely. Strength is not pretending you're okay. Strength is letting yourself feel and allowing someone to help you carry the weight. True strength isn't about never breaking. True strength isn't enduring everything alone until you completely collapse. That is a distorted definition of strength that society sold you. and it is destroying people from the inside out. Real strength is having the courage to say, I am struggling. Real strength is allowing someone to see you in your most vulnerable moments. Real strength is recognizing that you are human, that you have limits, and that you need support just like anyone else. There is no medal for suffering in silence. There is no prize for carrying it all alone until you break. Think about that person in your life who is always fine, always available, always bringing energy to others. That person who never seems to have problems, who never complains, who is always smiling no matter what happens. Do you really believe that person never faces difficulties? Or have they simply learned to hide it so well that you never thought to ask? Really ask. Often, these people are desperately waiting for someone to notice. Waiting for someone to ask the right question in the right way. For someone to create a safe environment where they can finally take off the mask. From a therapeutic perspective, treating high-functioning depression requires a different approach. It's not just about medication or standard cognitive techniques. It's about dismantling years of conditioning that taught this person their only option is to function perfectly. Many of these individuals develop maladaptive perfectionism. They set impossible standards for themselves and believe that anything less than perfection is total failure. This perfectionism doesn't come from healthy ambition. It comes from a deep-seated belief that your worth as a person is directly tied to what you produce, what you deliver, and how useful you are to others. When you see someone who is always helping everyone but never accepts help, pay attention to that. When someone changes the subject every time the conversation gets close to how they're really feeling, that's a sign. When a person is always too busy to stop, always has something more important to do than take care of themselves, that tells you something. These aren't coincidences, they are defense mechanisms. Here is something that might sound contradictory but is fundamentally true. Some of the most broken people you will meet are the ones who seem the most whole on the outside. Because they have spent so much time and energy building that facade that they've become unrecognizable even to themselves. They've lost touch with who they really are underneath all those layers of armor. If you are watching this and recognizing yourself, I need you to hear something very important. You don't have to keep carrying everything alone. The story you've told yourself about having to be strong all the time, about not being allowed to fall apart, about needing to keep it all together no matter the cost, that story is not serving you. It is slowly destroying you. I know the idea of asking for help feels impossible right now. I know you believe that if you start to truly feel, if you let those floodgates open, you'll drown and never be able to come back. But that is fear talking, not reality. The reality is that you deserve support just as much as anyone else. Your feelings are valid, even if you can function despite them. Your pain is real, even if no one can see it. And for those who have someone like this in their life, here is what you can do. Don't accept "I'm fine" as the final answer. Not when your gut tells you there's something more. Create genuine space for vulnerability. Say, I notice you always ask how I am, but you never talk about how you really are, and I want you to know I'm here if you want to talk. Show through repeated actions that you won't leave when things get heavy, that you won't judge them, that you genuinely want to know how they are, not just out of politeness, but because you care. Because these people test if it's safe to open up, and most give up on the first attempt. The truth is, our society has failed to create safe spaces for emotional vulnerability. Men learn from an early age that expressing emotion is weakness. Women learn they need to take care of everyone except themselves. People in leadership positions learn that admitting struggle undermines their authority. And we all internalize the toxic message that productivity is more important than humanity. So, we end up with millions of people walking around broken on the inside, but functioning perfectly on the outside, all pretending everything is fine, all feeling completely alone even when surrounded by people. But change is possible, and it starts with small steps of courage. It starts when someone decides they're going to stop pretending, even if just for a moment, even if just with one person. There is no shame in needing help. There is no shame in admitting you are struggling. There is no shame in being human instead of an infallible productivity machine. What should shame us is a culture that values appearances more than real well-being, that celebrates toxic endurance instead of healthy resilience. So if there is someone in your life who came to mind while you were watching this video, someone who is always too fine, always functioning too well, always helping too much but never receiving, send this video to them. Not as an accusation, but as a bridge. As a way of saying, I see you and you don't have to keep pretending with me. Real change happens when you stop asking yourself, how can I keep handling everything alone? And start asking, who can help me carry this? Because true strength isn't never falling. True strength is having the courage to get back up with help when you do fall. It's admitting you can't do it all alone. It's choosing genuine connection over perfect performance. And remember that brightest smile often hides the deepest pain. Not because the person is fake, but because they learned that their pain has no place in the world. Prove to someone today that this belief is wrong. Be the person who really asks, who really listens, who really stays when things get hard. If this content resonated with you, hit that like button because it shows me that this kind of conversation about mental health matters. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications because every week I bring more content on psychology and human behavior. And share this video with someone who needs to hear this today because you never know when a message might be exactly what someone needed to take that first step. Follow for more psychology videos.